Hello. We are tuning in to Robyn Carr's What We Find, Chapter 4. The days were getting just a little longer, a little warmer. Flowers were starting to sprout along roadsides and trails. It was turning beautiful in and around Sullivan's Crossing. Sully wasn't able to plant his bulbs around the house, but Maggie did it for him, with his relentless supervision. Maggie and Sully had been back for 5 days, and she'd driven to Timberlake as many times. First for some fresh vegetables and salmon, then for seedlings for Sully's garden along with fertilizer, then for some fish and chicken breasts. She went ahead and stocked up on frozen shrimp and ground turkey. She spent a lot of time on her laptop looking up heart-healthy meals. This was not how Maggie envisioned her escape from reality. She'd been hoping to relax and empty her brain of all those disappointments and worries. But she was working her tail off. She was not used to cooking, for one thing. When she was working, she typically ate hospital food, which paradoxically was not the healthiest. It was so starchy, cafeteria quality. It wasn't the food they served patients either. If not eating at the hospital, she'd grab something on the way home, something light. There was a conveniently located grocer and deli that sold prepared meals for one, and then there were times she went out with friends or some of the staff for a meal, and they were partial to either sushi or Italian. But now she was working hard at feeding Sully delicious things to at least intrigue him rather than bore him to death. Before, when Maggie was at the campground, they decided what they were having for dinner. And meet at about 7, throw a steak, burgers, or maybe some chicken breasts on the grill. And they'd eat their meat with fries or potato chips. She was already tired of this new routine. She also watched while Cal got the garden ready. This was not his first garden. He created neat, straight rows of slightly raised dirt ready for planting. There were 2 fishermen in the campground and one older couple in an RV. The couple was interested in getting pictures of the wildflowers that were springing up all over, some even popping through the snow at the higher elevations. Because there was still so little traffic, there was a sign on the front door of the store. Winter hours, 8 to 5. After dinner one evening, she walked over to the store to pilfer a beer, and she saw there was a campfire on the beach. One lone man enjoying the mild evening. She grabbed 2 beers and walked down to the lake. He was sitting on top of a picnic table, feet on the bench, his elbows on his knees. His short brown hair was wet, as was the collar of his sweatshirt. He'd had a shower and shave. "Evening, Caldwell," she said. He turned toward her in surprise, and she handed him a beer. "Caldwell?" he asked. "You're getting desperate." "That's true, but not about your name. I'm getting a little restless." "Maybe it's time to go back to work," he said. He toasted her, clinking the neck of her beer with his. "I do a lot of chores around this place. Sully has always been a tough taskmaster. I've always had to haul, stock, sweep, clean, chop wood, dig out trenches, clean gutters, clean that damn bathroom and shower, work in the store, but never what I've been doing this time, cleaning house, cooking dinner. I'm already bored with my little housewifey duties, and I'm getting cabin fever. I'm sick of heart-healthy food. If I see one more hunk of fish, I'm going to gag. Sully said he's growing fins." Cal laughed. "You think it's funny? I can smell your bacon before I smell coffee in the morning. I sneaked over to Timberlake for a hamburger today, and Sully claimed he could smell it on my breath." He leaned closer to her, sniffing. "Yep. I asked him if he had any idea for dinner, and he said he'd like a New York strip smothered in onions on a hoagie bun." She took a pull on her beer. "God, that sounds good." "I knew it," he said. "You're a carnivore. You're kind of interesting caliber. You shower and shave while you're camping." "I wash my clothes and change the lining in the sleeping bag, too. I'm a very clean fellow." Are you ever going to go back to work and leave Sully alone? Give me a break. I haven't relaxed a day yet, she said. Are you? Are you? Sure. I just left a job about 6 weeks ago. I work. I'm just not working now, except for you. Well, not me exactly, she said. You work for Sully. Have I said how much we appreciate all the free labor? It's very nice of you to pitch in. I have time on my hands, he said. What was your last job? I was an assistant to an assistant in human resources in a theme park. It basically meant driving a golf cart around, checking on people, helping them fill out forms or taking complaints. Or sometimes it meant catching them screwing around on the job and reporting them to my supervisor. As little of that as possible. Really? A theme park? She said, fascinated again. Which one? The big one. Really? Was it fun? It really was. I applied to the ground crew, but there wasn't anything, and they offered me the job in HR. I met all the actors. It was cool. And you quit? She asked. No, I got fired. I was checking someone's human resources very closely. Not in public, of course. Not on the job. It was consensual and private, but word got out. Apparently even adults have to refrain from that. There are rules if you want to work there, strict rules. More for some than others. They can't do that, she said. That's discrimination. Not for everyone. Princesses are not allowed to do some things, even on their own time. You were doing a princess? Which one? Get out of here. I'm not telling you. You're too old for those princesses. Oh, she was a lot older than she looked. Plus, she was an animal. So, not only was it a bad decision, you didn't like it? I never said that, he said. He grinned lasciviously. You're lying, she said. I don't believe one word of that. Okay, he said. He took a drink of his beer. It's true, though. A very embarrassing situation. We both got fired. I lost a pretty fun job, and I think she lost her lifetime dream. I was planning to take a few months off to camp, but I wasn't planning to start until April or May. I hate being cold. However, Callahan, I think you're a liar, con man, and maybe a predator. He just laughed at her. Seriously, you ever going back to work? I told you, the practice shut down, she said. We both know there are things you could do. I was picking up work here and there from college colleagues. I just came to Sully's for a badly needed break. I packed up a bunch of stuff, left the disposition of the office in the hands of a broker who can be sure the equipment, furniture, and supplies are sold or stored. Emailed all my colleagues that I was taking a leave of absence. I was burned out, bloody, well sick of all the controversy my partners had stirred up, and I was exhausted. I was only home for 24 hours when Sully crashed. That's almost 4 weeks ago. I haven't thought about anything but Sully since. You can let go of that pretty soon, aside from being a little ordinary and sick of salmon and chicken. He's doing great. I know, but I don't know if I want to go back to that grind. Check with me after I've actually had some time to think. But one thing I'm not crazy about is being a caretaker the rest of my life. Maybe another residency, a different specialty? He asked. She shook her head. I don't think so. Right now I just want to escape. Have you ever felt like that? He chuckled. I've been in your campground for 5 weeks, through rain and mud and heart attacks. What do you think? You're traumatized by the aftershock of screwing a princess. It takes a lot more than to traumatize me, he said. He put an arm around her shoulders. It's okay to take a break, Maggie. I'm not sure it's good for you to obsess about Sully, though. It might be misplaced anxiety. Really, he's going to be fine. You didn't see what I saw, she said. No one saw what you saw, honey, he said very sweetly. I was right there when they loaded him into the ambulance. You saw your father slipping away. Everyone else saw a cardiac episode. I think you're a little terrified. Yeah, she said, guilty. I'm not very close to my mother, and I have no siblings. and it was Sully. Maybe it's because I always felt deprived of him when I was growing up. My mother and stepfather lived in Chicago, and it wasn't easy to see Sully. Or it could be that he's as special as I think he is. You don't know him that well yet. He's one of the most remarkable men I've ever known. If you were going to be around here longer, like through summer, you'd see. Tell me, he said. Oh, hell, where to start? I've seen him break up fights, rescue drowning kids and dogs. You didn't think a dog could drown, did you? He was tangled in fishing line. He's given refuge to the lost, tracked and killed a bad cat, a mountain lion who attacked a hiker. That almost never happens, and Sully got in so much trouble. Took him forever to work through that. But maybe the most important thing he does, he creates relationships with people. Unforgettable relationships. They write him, send him pictures, mention him in their writings, their blogs, long after they've gone. They hang out at the store, and he listens to their tales from the trails. He gives them tips, does little favors, lets them charge up their phones and stuff so they can make contact with friends and family. He tells jokes, encourages people, praises them, and most of that without anyone knowing that's what he's doing. He lets kids organizations come out and camp for free. He's partial to the autistic kids. Sully relates to a lot of them, and I have no idea why. He doesn't know why either. He plows in winter, he clears our road, and then he goes out to the neighbors who are snowed in and clears theirs. He's the third generation. His grandfather built the store, and Sully didn't get a son to run it. All he's got is me. What's going to happen to this place when Sully can't run it anymore? Will the next owner carry on that legacy? You have no idea how much Sully is loved, needed. It was still and quiet for a moment. The sound of night birds and crickets and the occasional splash of a fish was all she heard. He tightened his arm slightly, pulling her a bit closer. What a lucky man, he said softly. I never looked at it that way, as Sully being the lucky one. I always thought it was the rest of us who were lucky. It's the rest of you, too. One of the things I think about a lot when I'm alone is what makes a life well spent. It sounds like you described one. Yeah, Sully is very happy. I'd say he's good at making relationships with everyone. Well, except maybe me. He never tried very hard to make a relationship with me. You? I thought you two were very close. We are, I guess. Except my mother took me away from him. And of course he never came after me. He said I was better off. She shrugged. I guess I should get over it by now, huh? He gave her shoulders another squeeze. Some things stay with us a long time, he said. No one knows that better than me. The Boy Raised on the Road by Jed Looney Tunes Jones. Maggie had a new friend. The days around the store and grounds were busy, but in the evenings, when things were quiet, she wandered down to the lakefront or over to Cal's campsite. One night, she invited him to meet her on her front porch at the house. They talked about their lives, even though she wasn't sure how much of his was true. Did I mention I'm being sued? She said. No. No wonder you don't want to go back to work. Oh, I've been sued before. It might settle or just go away, but if it doesn't, it could drag on. There was no malpractice. We did everything humanly possible. It really took its toll on me. It was a hard one. A terrible accident involving teenagers. We all did what we could, but we're so helpless. I've lost patience before in my business. It happens too often. It was awful. I'm so sorry. Are you worried about the lawsuit? He asked. I worry about everything, she admitted. But when I'm in the moment, in surgery, I'm not worrying. I'm performing and thinking hard. Before and after, I worry too much. On the weekend, the park began to fill up with campers. The weather was outstanding, sunny and warm spring weather. Tom and his oldest son Jackson came to the property to help Maggie finish putting in the garden. She had several flats of flowers and vegetable starters. Cal dug in and helped while Bo did his job chasing the rabbits into the woods. Sully watched over everyone, giving plenty of advice. Like I've never put in a garden before, Tom said. What haven't you done, Tom? Maggie asked. Never did surgery, he said. Yet. Tom Candiday was a big, happy guy whose wife divorced him years ago. At first he wanted to take the girls, Nikki and Brenda, to her new home in Aurora, but that didn't last long. The girls were miserable, away from the home and school they knew, and Tom convinced his ex-wife to give them back to him, that he was in a better position to take care of them and see they were doing well in school. Nikki was now 17 and Brenda 14. His ex visited from time to time, and as far as Maggie knew from the gossip, they were amicable and got along better divorced than they had as a married couple. Tom had indeed had a million jobs, and on top of that was a volunteer on the search and rescue team. The campground welcomed a lot of what Maggie referred to as weekend warriors. They began to pull in on Thursday and Friday afternoons. A few planned to stay a few days, but most would pack up on Sunday night. During school breaks, whole families or large groups of young people would stay through 2 weekends, and school breaks came at various times all over the country. We're going to do some hiring for the spring and summer. Interested, Jackson? Maggie asked. Doing what? He asked. Everything, she said. From spring to August, this place will be busy. I'm still trying to hold Sully down. Do you have any time? I can take on a little work, Jackson said, smiling handsomely. This is not a bad place to be in summer. Girls everywhere. Thanks, Maggie, for as if college isn't hard enough on my nerves, Tom said, staking the tomato plants. I have an idea. Why don't you ask Nikki if she wants a summer job too? Maybe they can spy on each other and tattle. Oh, much better, Maggie, Tom said, one knee in the dirt. He looked up at her and shook his head. You're just for ways to make my life easier, aren't you? Now I have to worry about 2 of them. Schoolwork is a priority. Well, Maggie rubbed her hands together. Until school is out for summer, if you can come after school, I'll give you dinner, and when things are slow, you can study. You can try to study. Anyway. I've been working for my dad the last 2 years, and I have good grades. He just doesn't want to part with his cheap labor, Jackson said. He doesn't want you looking at too many bikinis, Sully said. Oh, is there such a thing? Jackson asked, grinning. The camp came alive in the sunshine. The lake was still too cold to enjoy swimming, but women rolled up their shorts and sat in lawn chairs in the sun by the water. Maggie strung up a couple of macrame hammocks, and they were filled before she could walk away. There was a steady stream of people to the store all weekend, getting ice for their coolers, grabbing items they missed like butter, Tabasco, salt and pepper. Enid left early. She wasn't usually in on weekends, but was coming around to make sure they were covered since Sully's surgery. Her cookies and breakfast muffins sold like crazy. There was activity beginning on other spots around the lake. A dozen rental cabins across the lake, a Girl Scout camp, a church camp, a U.S. Forest Service campground with bathrooms, but no laundry, showers, or store. Most of them were just starting to get ready for summer vacationers. A couple of them on the other side of the lake had little mini marts, but no general store. A family camp across the lake sold gas for the boats. People who needed to do a little shopping had to choose between a trip to Leadville, Timberlake, or Sully's. Maggie kept the store open a little later than usual, enjoying the sound of laughter, the smell of cooking fires. Sully operated the cash drawer, and Maggie knew there was no way she could leave him yet. Dusk came, the air cooled, and campers settled their lawn chairs around their campfires. Cal came into the store carrying 2 covered plates. I thought you might not have time to cook, he said. What have you got there? She asked. Look and see. Where's Sully? He's checking inventory, she said. She pulled the foil off one plate. Oh my, she said. It was a skinless chicken breast cut in strips, smothered in a light sauce surrounded by broccoli, peppers, mushrooms, cherry tomatoes, onions, and a couple of baby corns tossed in for color. Sauce? Yogurt flavored with spices. Try it. She took the offered fork and dipped into it. Wow, you did this on that little grill of yours? The Coleman stove. I'm a pretty experienced camper. Gee, she said, chewing and swallowing. Imagine what you could do with a real stove. Did you go to town today? Shop for dinner? Yesterday. I have to stay open a little later tonight, she said. I hope it's not past your bedtime. I'll manage, he said. Go get Sully. After eating at the checkout counter, Sully went back to the house. Maggie washed up the plates and gave them back to Cal. Then she dimmed the lights in the store, and they sat on the front porch for a while. They sat side by side, their feet up on the porch rail. The store was officially closed, but if someone came down the path and needed something, she'd unlock the door. Since no one did, they talked. Softly, he put his arm around her again and told her that he admired her ability to shift gears, be flexible during this important time. That you put his needs above your own for now, that's generous. A lot of people couldn't. You thought I was overdoing it a bit? She reminded him. You are, he said, giving her shoulders a squeeze. But I think it will give you both peace of mind. You're important to each other. I think you watch over each other. That's all that matters. Maggie was working up a crush. She thought about Cal while she was falling asleep. She was probably a sucker for a soft, calm, confident voice and a steadying arm, she thought. In medical school, one learns to worship calm confidence, especially in surgery and particularly in specialties like hers, where no doubt, no tremor, no hesitation could be tolerated. There were occasions she'd had to make a life-altering decision in under a minute. Maggie remembered times her knees had knocked out, but no one knew. She was decisive. This was probably not what JC had in mind when she suggested a break, and becoming a caretaker and full-time grocer was certainly not what Maggie had in mind. But Cal was a welcome distraction. Vacations, camping trips, and campgrounds like this were ripe for romance, and it was no different if you were the proprietor. There was something about the temporary quality, the way one was removed from real life for a time. Having spent many a weekend and vacation here with Sully during high school and college, Maggie had been vulnerable to that vacation alliance a time or two, and it had been fun. When she was younger, the reality that the young man didn't follow through, didn't write or phone or email, stung. But that didn't last. Now she knew it for what it was. The sexy Cal Jones, probably not even his real name, would be no different. Her common sense told her it shouldn't be. He was lovely and wonderful, the way he helped her dad, but he was just marking time and would be on his next adventure soon. But her attraction to him was real. One of these evenings, their twilight beer by the lake or on the porch would go a little further, she hoped. She couldn't help that. She hadn't been in the arms of a loving man in a while, after all. Sunday at the camp was active. People were trying to squeeze in the last of their weekend fun and pack up their tents and campers. The store was busy. Campers ran out of things to get through their last day. Beer, soft drinks, snacks, sandwich fixings. Maggie was ringing up, bagging things, laughing with customers, telling them she hoped they had a good time, looking forward to dusk when the activity would slow down. A lovely 14-year-old girl and her 10-year-old brother came in for eggs. They were staying one more night and then backpacking farther up the trail with their parents. They were beautiful blonde-haired, blue-eyed angels and the sweetest kids. Apparently their spring break had started, and the family, mom and dad, both teachers, loved hiking and camping. and it was their dream to one day hike the whole CDT as a family. We're getting up early tomorrow, eating breakfast, and heading out, Chelsea Smith told Maggie. We'll probably get in 100 miles during break. I hope you're planning to get into really good shape for the CDT, Maggie said. It's a 6-month commitment. I think I could do it now, Chelsea told her. So could I, her brother, Remy, insisted. I hope when you do, I'm here to cheer you on, Maggie said, giving the girl her change. Good luck tomorrow. Maggie. She looked up into the beautiful eyes of the man next in line. Eyes she knew so well. Andrew? What are you doing here? I took Mindy home a little early, and I hoped I could catch you. Rob Hollis told me you were here with your dad. You might have let me know. Why? We're fine. Better than fine, she said, bagging up the eggs for the Smith kids. I hope you had a good time here and have a safe hike, she said. She waited for the kids to clear the door and then turned on Andrew. Little busy here. You should have called. Maggie, what the hell are you doing? He asked, frowning. Bagging groceries, mostly. No, what are you doing here? The rumor is you quit. That's not quite accurate. I decided to take some time off since the practice is closed, and I've just picking up hospital shifts here and there. Then Sully needed me, so it's a good thing I have the time. I don't have any patients counting on me. When are you coming back? He asked. That's really not your concern now, is it? She said. You've lost your mind. Is that it? You're a surgeon? A gifted surgeon? You can't stay here. I don't want to talk about it with you. You really should have called. I could have saved you a trip. You're ignoring my calls. Well, there's a reason for that. We're not seeing each other anymore. We're not enemies, I hope. Come on, Maggie. Can we talk, please? We have things to talk about. This is a bad time, she said. Sully came from behind her, from the kitchen or storeroom. For 70 and in recovery from heart surgery, apparently his hearing was perfect. Hello, Andrew, he said. Have you been? Sully, damn, it's good to see you, Andrew said, grabbing Sully's hand and plumping it. You look great. Are you feeling all right? I'm doing fine. Not crazy about the new diet, but I'll live, Andrew laughed. You have really good color. I was told I'd come out of it looking better than when I went in. I have freshly widened arteries to float my oxygen through. As a beauty treatment, I don't recommend it. Can't say I blame you, Andrew said with a laugh. What a relief to see you. Did Maggie say I called, just to see how you were? She might have mentioned it, thanks, but we're doing fine. Maggie, are you going back to Denver anytime soon? Andrew asked. I haven't made any plans. Can you break away for a few minutes? I won't keep you long. Sure. Meet you out front in a few. She watched him walk away, leave the store as a couple of guys walked in. I'll get this, Sully, she said. Nah, go deal with him. I'll leave through a checkout or two. You sure? She asked. Stop pampering me. I'm doing a damn sight better after heart surgery than he did after his knee surgery. You'd think he'd delivered a baby elephant or something. And don't you dare use me as an excuse for not going back to work. Go on now, get rid of him. That made Maggie laugh a little, though she was in no mood to laugh over Andrew. It was true, though, what a lot of complaining he'd done after a knee scope. It was his first experience on that side of the knife. Poor baby. I won't be long, she said. Be as long as you want, he said. Just make sure you don't invite him to dinner. Oh, Sully wasn't happy with Andrew, and he didn't even know the half of what Andrew had put her through. It was so rare for Sully to get out of sorts with someone, and Maggie hadn't even explained all that went on between them. But then, Sully usually guessed right. Andrew was leaning up against his car, texting or reading his email. He straightened when she walked out of the store and down the porch steps. He really was so good-looking. She remembered the first time he suggested dinner. She'd been so surprised. He wanted to date her. He was one of those classically handsome men, chiseled cheekbones and chin, tall with dark blonde hair, striking blue eyes, and inviolable physique. And he was so nice. But he was an ER doc. They had to have certain gifts. He had to know how to deal with frightened, hurting people, had to be swift and skilled. Andrew could put patients and their families at ease and get the job done quickly. Maggie, he said, you're looking good. Thank you. Listen, we don't have anything to do here. You said you were done. Let's go with that. Come on, Maggie. That wasn't exactly it, he argued, reaching out for her hand. No, that was exactly it. Before I came back here, before Sully's heart attack, you said I was too depressed for you, that you couldn't deal with it anymore. Of course my practice was shutting down. I was thinking about filing for bankruptcy. I was being sued by the family of a 16-year-old I lost on the table, and I was trying to stay ahead of the bills by picking up call for other doctors, mostly nights and weekends, so I could give interviews and depositions all week. Oh, and did I mention I'd just lost my baby? The baby I wanted, but you didn't? I'm so sorry I wasn't more cheerful, but there, you have it. I'm so sorry I wasn't more cheerful, but there you have it. She shrugged. Sorry, babe. That's all I've got, she said, mimicking him. It turned out Sully needed me. That's all I have to say, Andrew. Look, I want us to be friends, he said. I want to lend support if I can. She laughed a little. You want us to be friends? She asked. I guess I've never been threatened more cruelly by anyone in my life, Andrew. You asked me to abort a baby because it wasn't convenient for you. Then you bitched because I grieved. Andrew, hear this, please. I don't want to be friends. I spent a couple of years as your friend. That meant taking vacation to look after you when you got a meniscus tear repaired, listening to your rants over your crazy ex-wife, and hearing a million complaints about the working conditions in your ER. Being your friend appears to mean that I should be there for you, but perpetually happy, no matter what's going on. But when I need you, you're unavailable. That's not good enough for me. Please, just go. Maggie, he said in a calm, deep, lovely voice, you're crying. Shit, she said, wiping at her cheek. We're done. It's non-negotiable. I wouldn't take you back if you begged me. I can't be with a man as selfish as you. That's not fair, he said. Would you have wanted me to lie? When you told me you were pregnant, I told you the truth. I have a daughter and a crazy ex-wife. And no, I was not planning to have more children. It was one of the first issues we talked about when we started seeing each other. You said you understood completely. I wasn't pregnant then. Be reasonable. It wasn't planned, he said. Just go. She turned and walked around to the back of the store and the back door. She ducked into the bathroom beside the storeroom and looked in the mirror. Sure enough, she was crying again. In medicine, everyone worships stoicism, thus her hiding in stairwells. She once sneaked into a bathroom and sobbed her brains out when she lost a young woman and her unborn child, even though saving them had been a long shot. GSW, gunshot wound. So tragic. Then there was a mass shooting at a high school. Several victims, and they pulled them through all of them, and it had almost the same effect on her. She cried until she was sick to her stomach. That was back when she was in Chicago doing her fellowship with Walter. The sheer violence and cruelty of the school shooting had nearly gutted her. By the time she was practicing, she'd figure out how to hide it. The overpowering emotion, but she hadn't cried over a man since she was 16. Not the man, she reminded herself, the relationship and the baby. Andrew, the sensitive ER doctor, left her because she was having trouble coping with her loss. She really and truly had not known he was that inflexible, that cold. There must be a lesson in there somewhere, and she was damn sure going to find it. She splashed cold water on her face, dried it, went back into the store, and of course you were standing beside Sully, wearing a look of concern but calm. Well, Calistoga, you're just everywhere, aren't you? You okay, Maggie? He asked. I got a little pissed, that's all. Ex-boyfriend. Gotcha, Cal said. He looked at his watch. Why don't you go home and see what you can find for dinner for you and Sally? I'll hang out here till closing. She sniffed. Would you like to join us? She asked. Thanks, but I've already eaten. It's early, she said. It's okay, Maggie, he said. Take a break. Get some alone time. Sunday night can get a little... Hell, I'm going, she said.